Hey, this is Sensei Mo, aka Gangsta Sensei. I'm just going to explain to you some of the things that are going on right now in the martial arts world and how we're trying to let people know how the martial art world connects with the street world as well. You know, my movie's coming out this month. It's called The Empty Hands, and it's really a martial arts movie that talks about some of the things that goes on in our community. And this guy who is Rob Black, which is the character I'm playing, uses martial arts a lot to settle problems and arguments and things of that nature. But through violence, you always come up with empty hands. Because a lot of karate people think that I mean empty hands, I mean karate. No, empty hands means that through violence, you will not succeed. Now, I think it sounds like it's contradicting itself. Sometimes violence is necessary, but that's when we make the choice, is it necessary? Also, I have the 52 Blocks. This is my new DVD that's come out. You can get it on filmbaby.com if you want to. That's filmbaby.com. The 52 Blocks is a street fighting art. Very well known in the New York community. There's different kinds of 52s. There's uptown, there's downtown. Of course, a street fighter from Brooklyn fought different from a street fighter from Harlem. A street fighter from Harlem fought different from the street fighter from Queens or Staten Island or the Bronx. So everybody had their own take on the 52 Blocks. 52 Blocks is very similar to, you know, freestyle fighting. Its foundation, of course, is boxing, but also, it has some martial arts in it. The reason why the 52 Blocks has never been considered as a martial arts is because the 52 Blocks doesn't have a moral foundation. As you know, all martial arts has a moral foundation. The 52 Blocks comes from the street gangs of New York and also comes from the prison systems. Unfortunately, when I was growing up being a kid, I was part of the street gangs. And being part of the street gangs, I learned the 52 Blocks. But not just the 52 Blocks. Some people know the 52 Blocks as Jailhouse Rock. Some people know it as Scuffin'. Some people call it The Science. So it has different names as far as the 52 Blocks is concerned. But today, the big umbrella is called the 52 Blocks. People call it dirty boxing too. So really no rules are really involved in it. But it's really a playful sort of art. It means that the guys that use the 52 Blocks are so good with their hands. You see guys on the street corner slap boxing? That's how the 52 Blocks evolved. Guys are so good with their hands that they're able to play with you. And that's why they call it the 52 Blocks. So we're going to do some movement with the 52 Blocks and show you how it goes. But one thing I want to point out, the 52 Blocks is the only, if it's considered a martial arts, the only American martial arts. Now isn't it unbelievable to say that the only official American martial arts comes from the prison system? The only, because boxing comes from England. So we think that boxing fighting style, that comes from England. So the only real official American martial arts, if you want to make it a martial arts, came from out of the prison systems and came from out of the streets of the inner cities. Not just New York, I'm sure there's other inner city that have jailhouse fighting and other things like that. But I can just talk about what I know. And being that I'm from New York, I'm going to talk about the street fighting that developed in New York. So now, Jamal and I are going to go through a couple of the basic movements that you'll see on the tape. The first most common are called rolls. You see guys do rolls. They're rolling and they're blocking with the roll. Work your rolls, work it into the camera so the camera can see. So these are called rolls. Good. Now, one of the best part of the blocking system is called head taps. Head taps. But you notice it's with a little rhythm and keeping the elbows in and just tapping your head. So what you taught a kid, you couldn't teach him Kung Fu. You couldn't teach him the hook up. You couldn't teach him traditional blocks, come overhead. You couldn't teach him traditional blocks because that takes training. When you're in the street, it's not about training, it's about practice. So you just taught the kid, yo, if he swings at you, tap your head. Other side, tap your head, go. Good. Good, right in there. Now we're going to use what's very important, which you see in mixed martial arts, is elbows and knees. Whenever you're in a street fight, somehow elbows and knees are going to become very important. I don't care what a guy knows, he's going to win by using elbows and by using knees. So those are very important as well. So from the head tap comes here, step in, you're able to do what? Use the elbow. Head tap in, head tap, elbow. See how quick that was? It's real quick. Again, head tap, elbow. Using your elbow, striking with the elbow. A lot of you, oh, that's Muay Thai. No, that's 125th Street. That's Muay Thai. No, that's Flatbush. That's Muay Thai. No, that's Jamaica Avenue. Real basic. Another thing you do in any fighting art, knees and kicks, front kicks are going to be. If a guy doesn't know martial arts at all, he's going to throw a front kick because he's seen it before. A lot of times when we watch movies, we get stuff out of movies. So one move that was very important in the 52 blocks is called a spinning back fist, which all of you guys know, right? Jamal, you'll do a couple of spinning back fists. All you guys know what the spinning back fist is. Now I'm going to tell you the difference between martial arts spinning back fist and streets spinning back fist. The martial artist wants to hit you right on the face, right on target, because that's what we're about. We want to hit you right in the target. So you jab and you spinning backward. Guys in the street don't care about that. They just care when I spin, I catch something. So it doesn't have the beauty, what do we call it? Martial arts. So it doesn't have the beauty of the art, but it's about the finishing point. So you have guys who'll be fighting you and just turn and throw something, and that works. They also talk about crushing. Come. You got a man with his guards up. Guys in the jails fight close, they crush you here. Crushing. So he just coming up on you, crushing you with his forearms and with his hand. So that's called crushing. Something that you use in the jailhouse situation. It's a close situation. You don't have all that room. So crushing is important. Crushing and being able to do those kinds of things. Another reason why the 52 blocks hasn't been considered as a martial arts system, even the weaponry. You know, putting a blade under your tongue, you know, we may call it a ninja move, but putting the blade under your tongue is not traditional. So putting a blade under your tongue, to many martial artists, guys spit you and cut you. We don't believe that that's honorable. We believe that you tried to trick us. We didn't square off and fight honorably. So there's a difference. But right now, today, people are trying to acknowledge and make the 52 blocks into a martial art. In order to do that, we have to give it a philosophy. We have to give it a moral background. We have to take it from out of the prison system where it was developed and from out of the streets from where it was really popularized at, and make it more formal. We have to try to develop that. So the only way you can do that is obviously through guys who have martial arts skills. So we go over, like I told you, head taps, rolls,